John Vittas joined with Maryland Associate Head Coach Jim Belanger prior to the 2015 season. Coach, you're in charge of the pitching staff. You've been able to bring a lot of very powerful and talented arms into College Park for a program that really hasn't seen this level of success in many decades. How have you been able to assemble such a deep staff? Because you go into another season where you lose your ace, but that's almost not even a concern.
I think a big part of it is, when we rolled in here, obviously it's our third year, so 2 years ago when we rolled in here, we came in with a pretty good freshman class, especially on the mound. So we got a good head start of it, with the guys of Alex Robinson, Jake Drosner, Kevin Mooney. So we rolled into it where the cupboard wasn't very bare. And I think that really kind of helped us kind of build some depth. And then obviously every year, when you're looking at your staff for the following year, you're looking at potential needs as far as left-handers, right-handers. And I think we've just done a good job of developing guys to where when the next guy is gone, when one guy's gone, the next guy just steps up. And we've just been really fortunate to have talented guys that have stepped up in roles.
Put you on the hot seat for a second. This will be the hardest question we ask. But Game 3 last year in Charlottesville, winner goes to the College World Series. Jake Drosner had been your 3 guy. He pitched you in the clincher in the regionals against South Carolina. And you went with Bobby Roos. Obviously, Bobby's a great pitcher, but it didn't work out. What was just the thinking going into that game? Because I think that's probably been on the back of a lot of people's minds as they head into the offseason.
Jake had been our 3 guy for a while, but if you looked back at his past couple of starts in the regional championship game, he struggled with his command a little bit. And in the ACC championship game, he struggled with command a little bit. So we felt like against Virginia, who was a team who really took advantage of guys that were, would give them free passes, we felt like Bobby gave us the best option. He was one of our best guys all year. We knew with Bobby, 99.9% of the time, you're going to get strikes. You're going to be able to hold runners. And he's just, for us as a staff, it was something that, was a tough call, but we felt like that gave us the best chance to win, So that was the reason we made it.
Gotcha. So you're in charge of the pitching staff, which is a great responsibility to have, but coming in this year, there's a lot of difficult decisions as well because you are blessed with so many great arms. How do you decide, and what's the process like of placing guys in certain innings and certain roles? Because almost everybody has a starting pitching background. How do you decide who goes to the bullpen, who might get a midweek starter's job or a weekend starter's job?
Well, traditionally, if you're going to go deep into the postseason, like even last year, you need to have a solid bullpen. If you look at all the teams that played in Omaha or in super regionals, they all have great bullpens. So one thing you try and do is you try and take 1 or 2 of your top arms and put them at the back end of the game, just because you need to have somebody that finishes games. Like I think Kevin Mooney can easily start for us if we wanted him to, but he's too valuable for us to get the last 3 outs of the game. So really you sit and evaluate. The one thing we look at is can a guy command 3 pitches? You know what I mean? For a rule of thumb is if a guy can only command 2 pitches, if he's got 2 pitches, he's more of a bullpen guy. How do guys hold their velocity through a amount of innings? Can they hold it for 2 innings versus 5 innings? If you can only hold it for 2 innings, you might be better off in the bullpen. And then a lot of it is, mentality and arm slots and matchups. And like I said, we're really fortunate. I have a good problem on my hands where we have a lot of depth, you know what I mean? But I'm really excited about our bullpen and kind of what we have the opportunity to be.
There's 8 freshmen on this pitching staff who could potentially make an impact this year in what would be their college debuts. Of that group of 8 guys, who are 1 or 2 guys that you see that could potentially make a very large impact early on?
As far as position players and pitchers?
Just pitchers.
Just pitchers? We only have 5 pitchers, new pitchers on staff. But I think 2 guys that had really good falls for us. One was Brian Schaefer, who's from the same high school as Kevin Mooney. Schaefer's a really athletic, 6'5", strike thrower, pounds the strike zone, good velocity, is able to spin the ball, can hold runners, can field his position. So anytime you got a guy that throws a lot of strikes, can spin the ball, field his position, hold runners, you feel comfortable putting that guy in the game. And then he's been the most consistent guy, I would say. And then another guy I feel like can be like a guy very similar to Bobby Roos is Taylor Bloom, who can really throw a changeup, really throw 3 pitches for strikes, command both sides of the plate. Again, athletic, not going to overpower you or anything with velocity, but just has you have pitchability. He has really good pitchability.
So it sounds like both of those guys in the long run could eventually be starters for you guys.
And then a guy like Willie Rios, who had a injury at the end of the summer where he had to have surgery on his thumb, that had a rough fall, which he's probably never fell before. He was probably our most highly touted guy coming in. And he had a really rough fall, which was probably good for him, because it humbled him a little bit. But his last outing last week was the best he's thrown since he's been here. So we expect a lot of things out of Willie, as well as the other freshmen, Jack Picos and Tyler Brandon.
So there's several pitchers on this staff who could go pro after the season, who are draft eligible, and some of them could go pretty high. How do you keep that balance of keeping their mind on the college season while they're still talking to scouts and thinking about eventually negotiating a contract after the season's over?
It's hard. It's hard, but I think you just develop a culture where you communicate with guys. There has to be really good lines of communication between the coaching staff and the player, and then coaching staff and scouts. And there has to be rules set in place. So we feel like we do a really good job in the fall of giving our guys full reign to scouts, professional scouts, and letting them get all the information that they need, the scouts need, and the players need, so that when they get to this time of year, there's not many phone calls having to be made, where the scouts have all the information they need and they can just come out and evaluate, and it allows our guys to play freely. And we've had really good examples of guys being able to handle the draft in the past couple of years, especially on the pitching staff with Jimmy Reed and Jake Stinnett. And I think the junior class has had those two examples, and they've been really great so far as just worrying about the team and worrying about getting better. And we tell them all the time, if you want to talk about it, come in our office. But when we're on the field, it's about the team and it's about baseball.
Coach, we really appreciate the time and certainly wish you the best luck this season.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.